Europe's drawn-out efforts to pull itself out of the economic mire are well documented. But it's not alone. Japan has now entered its fifth recession in 15 years. It comes just days before the country's election, which is expected to sweep the current Prime Minister from power. Let's now talk to James Corbett, editor of the current affairs website, The Corbett Report. He's in Osaka for us now. Thanks for joining us here. What's behind Japan's economic slump, do you think?
Well, it's basically Japan has turned into the basket case of Asia, economically speaking, over the past 2 decades since the bubble popped in the late 1980s, early 1990s. And for 2 decades, Japan has been floundering to try to come up with any sort of way to stimulate the economy, but in the traditional Japanese fashion of not being too risky with anything that they try. So for a long time now, we've seen the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, flirting with the idea of trying various steps towards monetary stimulation. But there's a very big aversion to inflation and anything that could upset the apple cart on the way to what they hope will be a recovery. So it hasn't gone very, stuck its toes very deep into that water so far. But we might see a big change in next week when it's expected that Shinzo Abe and the LDP will come into power here in Japan, and they're already proposing some quite sweeping changes to Japan's economic policy, including basically unlimited quantitative easing, so basically taking the Federal Reserve US-style route in trying to stimulate the economy.
Well, you mentioned the LDP, the Liberal Democratic Party. I mean, these economic troubles are benefiting them, the opposition there. How could this change the political situation inside the country?
Well, I think we're about to see quite a big about-face taking place. Of course, the LDP, the Liberal Democrat Party, was in power for almost the entirety of the post-war period here in Japan. But for the past few years, the Japanese electorate basically tried a little bit to try a different party. They tried with the Democratic Party of Japan. That hasn't worked out in the ways that it was expected to. And certainly economically speaking, Japan continues to be that basket case of Asia. So basically, it seems that almost inevitable that the LDP is going to be put back into power next week. And with that comes not only big changes in the economic policy, but I think there's going to be some very big changes geopolitically speaking, as Shinzo Abe, the leader of the LDP, is quite a hardliner on a number of issues and is even thinking of revising the Japanese constitution to allow for greater military use of the Japanese military overseas.
OK, watch this space. James Corbett, editor of the current affairs website, The Corbett Report. Thank you.
You're welcome.